When Maria saw the suspicious package near the school crosswalk, her smile disappeared. Because those wires, that timer, that specific tape pattern, she had seen this design before, in Afghanistan. Seeing it here was the last thing she wanted, because she knew they had less than 10 minutes. The crossing guard, who had greeted children with a smile every morning for 8 years, suddenly wasn't smiling anymore, because no one had known her real identity until that day. But today, she would activate her 15 years of training and reveal who she really was. Welcome to Hidden Legends. Tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today, and if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because when you learn this woman's true identity, you'll understand why she'd been standing on that corner for 8 years. Maria Santos, 48 years old. She'd been standing at the same crosswalk in front of Jefferson Elementary School for 8 years, 3 months, and 16 days. Every morning at 7:30, she would arrive, put on her yellow vest, take her stop sign, and safely guide children across the street. An ordinary crossing guard. But Maria wasn't there by chance. That corner was the perfect position to observe all areas around the school building, every vehicle, every package, every suspicious movement. Because Maria Santos wasn't just a crossing guard. She was someone who had done the U.S. Army's most dangerous job for 12 years. Explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialist. That Monday morning was like any other. Children were coming to school. Parents were rushing to work. Normal day, normal sounds. Maria was checking the crosswalk as usual, but her trained eyes were looking for different things. At 8:15, she saw it. By the school fence, behind the trash can, a black backpack. Normal people wouldn't notice. But Maria had been trained for 12 years to notice such things. Thin wires coming out of the bag, metallic glint, and that characteristic tape pattern. Maria's blood ran cold. Because this wasn't a random bomb, and Maria being here wasn't random either. This was exactly the same type of bomb she had seen in Afghanistan 15 years ago. Maria dropped her stop sign. 15 years of training came flooding back instantly. Children were coming toward school. Parents were getting out of their cars. A normal Monday morning. But Maria was no longer a crossing guard. She was Staff Sergeant Santos. She quickly calculated in her mind. Bomb type, IED, improvised explosive device. Estimated blast power, 50-meter damage radius, and the school building was right inside the damage zone. She pulled out her old military radio from her pocket. This wasn't standard equipment. Control. This is Guardian. Bomb threat at Jefferson Elementary. Evacuation needed, immediately. But Maria had no intention of waiting, because 300 children's lives were in danger. Maria Santos had joined the Army in 2005, 23 years old, single mother, limited options. EOD training was the toughest program, Maria said later. Only 12 out of 100 people passed. Explosive ordnance disposal, one of the world's most dangerous jobs. They taught us to think like bombers, Maria remembered, understanding their psychology, their methods, their favorite trigger mechanisms. But Maria had something her instructors recognized immediately: ice-cold composure under pressure. My first deployment was Iraq, Fallujah, 2007. We were getting 15 to 20 bomb calls per day. Each call was a life-or-death puzzle. Insurgents were constantly evolving their bomb-making techniques. Maria's specialty became IEDs, improvised explosive devices, homemade bombs used by terrorists. Every bomb was different, but they all had one thing in common. They were designed to kill. Her second deployment was Afghanistan, Kandahar, 2010. That's where everything changed. The bombs became more sophisticated, more deadly. Maria's team supported special operations, the most dangerous missions, the most complex bombs. One day we got a bomb report near a school. It was exactly this type of bag bomb. When they arrived, 200 children were inside. The bomb was positioned to collapse the main support beam. Maria worked for 3 hours in 115-degree heat, while Taliban snipers took positions in surrounding buildings. I could hear the children singing their morning lessons while I worked. That sound. It's what kept my hands steady. That day, Maria had saved 73 children's lives. but the trauma would last her entire life. It took me a long time to realize I had PTSD, Maria said. The bombs stopped exploding, but the explosion sounds continued in my head. She retired in 2017. 12 years, 347 bomb disposal operations, countless lives saved. Adjusting to civilian life was difficult. I didn't know what job to do. Therapy, medication, reintegration programs. But none of it was enough. One day while walking in the park, I saw children. They were playing, laughing. That's when I understood. I was thinking about the children I couldn't protect in Afghanistan, but here were children I could protect. When a crossing guard position opened at Jefferson Elementary, Maria applied. The salary wasn't important. What mattered was the children being safe. For 8 years, she had stood on the same corner every day, observing, protecting, waiting. People thought I was just a crossing guard, but I was actually a security specialist. Maria approached the bomb, her 15 years of experience, every movement calculated. First rule, don't panic. Second rule, move thoughtfully. She activated her old training protocols. Visual assessment first. Never touch anything until you understand the complete mechanism. The device was sophisticated. Military-grade timer, professional wire routing. This wasn't some amateur's first attempt. She took photos of the bomb, sent them to her military contacts through encrypted channels. A familiar design, similar to the model I saw in Afghanistan. The timer showed 7:43, 7 மணி 42 நிமிடம், 7 மணி 41 நிமிடம். I had time to evacuate the children, but not for bomb disposal. Maria spoke into her radio. All personnel, immediate evacuation. This is not a drill. Teachers were surprised. Why was the crossing guard giving orders? Move children away from the schoolyard, at least 100 meters distance. At that moment, Principal Johnson arrived. Maria, what's happening? You ... Sir, I'm Staff Sergeant Maria Santos, EOD Specialist, and your school is under bomb threat. Johnson's mouth fell open. The bomb disposal team arrived in 12 minutes, fully equipped, professional. Ma'am, we're taking over, said Team Leader Sergeant Miller. Device type, timer IED, explosive, probably C4, trigger, digital timer and vibration sensor. Miller was surprised. This analysis is professional level. Are you? 12 years EOD, 347 bomb disposal operations, Iraq and Afghanistan. Miller stood at attention. Ma'am, we need your expertise. I'm already here. They worked together. Maria's experience, Miller's equipment. This bomb structure resembles Taliban bombs I saw in Afghanistan. How should we approach? First, neutralize the vibration sensor, then the timer, main cable last. 45 minutes later, the bomb was rendered safe. That evening, local news broadcast Maria's story. Hidden hero, crossing guard turns out to be bomb expert. But Maria gave no interviews, didn't appear on cameras. Within hours, the story had spread beyond local news. National media picked up the story of the crossing guard who had prevented a school bombing. Veterans organizations from across the country began reaching out, reported Channel 7's Veteran Affairs correspondent. Maria Santos represents thousands of military specialists now working in civilian jobs. The Department of Veterans Affairs issued a statement. Staff Sergeant Santos exemplifies the continued service of our nation's heroes in communities across America. But Maria wanted none of the attention. The next day she came to work as usual. Same yellow vest, same stop sign. However, everything had changed. Parents who had driven past her for years without a second thought now stopped to thank her. Mrs. Chen brought me coffee that first morning, Maria remembered. She said, I've driven past you for 3 years. I never knew you were protecting us. Children looked at her with different eyes. Miss Maria, said 7-year-old Tommy, did you really save us? Maria knelt down to the child's level. Tommy, I just did my job. As long as you and your friends are safe, I'm happy. Are you a hero? No, Tommy, I'm just a crossing guard, and I make sure you're safe. But Tommy's question reflected a broader conversation happening throughout the community. Local veteran organizations began organizing support events. The VFW Post invited Maria to speak at their monthly meeting. I told them the same thing I tell everyone, Maria said. Heroes don't ask for recognition. They just do what needs to be done. The school board held an emergency session to discuss Maria's revelation and its implications for school security. "We realized we had been incredibly fortunate," said board president Susan Martinez. "Maria had been our secret security asset for 8 years, and we never knew it." Parents started asking questions about other school employees. How many other veterans work in our district? What skills are we not utilizing? A district-wide survey revealed surprising results. 23 veterans worked in various capacities throughout the school system. We found former military police working as substitute teachers, former medics working in food service, former communication specialists working as bus drivers, reported Human Resources Director Tom Wilson. The community response was overwhelming. Local businesses offered discounts to veterans. The city council passed a resolution recognizing Maria's service. But the most significant change was in how people viewed the ordinary workers around them. "Now when I see the janitor, the bus driver, the cafeteria worker, I wonder what their story is," said parent Jennifer Lopez. "Maria taught us that heroes are everywhere, hiding in plain sight." Children began treating all school staff with new respect. They learned that the woman who served their lunch might have saved lives in Kosovo, or the man who drove their bus might have been a Navy SEAL. "Maria changed our entire school culture," Principal Johnson observed. "Students understand now that every adult in their lives has value, has a story, has something to teach them." The impact extended beyond Jefferson Elementary. Other schools began conducting hidden hero programs, encouraging staff to share their backgrounds and experiences. Maria's story sparked a national conversation about veteran employment and recognition, said Dr. Patricia Williams, a military transition specialist. She showed that veterans don't stop serving when they leave the military. They just serve differently. Local colleges began developing programs to help veterans transition their military skills to civilian careers. "We realized we were wasting incredible talent," said Metro Community College President Robert Davis. 6 months later, Maria received a Presidential Volunteer Service Award for her community impact. She accepted it on behalf of all veterans working quietly in civilian roles. "This award doesn't belong to me," she said at the ceremony. "It belongs to every veteran who gets up every day and continues to serve their community, whether they're wearing a uniform or a crossing guard vest." The school administration held a special meeting with Maria. "Maria," said Principal Johnson, "now we know who you are. We want you to be our security coordinator. I just want to continue being a crossing guard, but your expertise, your experience. Mr. Johnson, I've been here for 8 years because I want to protect children. Title doesn't matter." But changes happened. Security protocols were strengthened. Maria's recommended measures were implemented. The bomb threat was just one. There could be other threats. Maria was no longer just a crossing guard. She was a security consultant, risk analyst, protector. "Should the children know this?" Johnson asked. They just need to know they're safe." After Maria's story came out, other veterans began to emerge. PE teacher Mike turned out to be a former Marine. Music teacher Sarah, former Air Force. "The school was actually full of veterans," Johnson said. "We had no idea." Maria established a veteran support group. "Military service isn't just done in uniform. We continue to serve in civilian life." The group met once a week. They shared experiences, supported each other. Protecting children is the highest duty, whether on a battlefield or in a schoolyard. Today, Maria still works at Jefferson Elementary. She still stands on the same corner, still guides children across the street with her stop sign. Sometimes people ask, "Do you regret it, leaving the military?" I tell them this: military service never ends. It just continues in different ways. Maria watches the children from her window. "Every morning when I come here, I know 300 children will return home safely. That's enough for me." Being a bomb disposal expert isn't just about neutralizing bombs, it's about protecting lives. And here, I protect 300 lives every day. She touched the old EOD badge in her pocket. I still think about the children I couldn't protect in Afghanistan, but I'm grateful for the children I can protect here. Because real heroes stand in the same place every day, do the same job, and nobody notices them until they see a bomb. Maria's story reminds us, protectors don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they wear yellow vests and hold stop signs, and we never know how many invisible guardians are around us. If this hidden legend story touched you, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Hidden Legends with notifications on. These secret heroes deserve to be remembered. And tell us in the comments, have you ever encountered an unexpected hero? See you in the next Hidden Legend story.